After UFC 299, I was scrolling through social media, as this is how I come up with a lot of video ideas. And one thing that was trending on the UFC Reddit after 299 was this post. Instead of people congratulating Sean O'Malley and giving him props for beating Marlon Cheeto Vera, people began to attack him and his wife personally. Now, keep in mind, this post didn't gain a lot of traction, but the fact that it was trending was, like I said, a little upsetting. However, it wasn't the only thing I seen after UFC 299. The next day, I probably seen about 5 videos pop up into my recommended feed tearing Benoit Saint-Denis apart, talking about how he got fraud checked, talking about how he got exposed, talking about how he's not a good fighter and he'll never be champion. When just the day prior, you had a bunch of YouTubers saying the same thing about Dustin Poirier, that Dustin Poirier is too old, he's not going to be able to survive Benoit, and that Dustin Poirier was about to get retired. Then I seen a bunch of people hating on Mateus Gamrot for his win over Rafael dos Anjos, where he absolutely dominated RDA for 5 rounds using his superior wrestling, and people were upset there was no striking in that fight. Then I seen a bunch of people hating on Michael Venom Page, calling that fight boring, when all that was striking. In fact, it was a masterclass by Michael Venom Page. Now, I'm not saying that you have to love each and every single fight or love each and every single fighter. We all know some fights aren't the greatest, but most fights, 98% of them, are pretty good. They might not be Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald, and whether or not you like a certain fight or a certain fighter, you have to give the fighter some respect. All these athletes work extremely hard to even get into the UFC. The amount of training that goes into being a fighter is insane. Sometimes I often think about Al Iaquinta's post-fight interview when he fought George Masvidal.
Whatever, man. Are you guys booing me? Are you guys? You better not boo me. I fought my ass off. You. I fought my ass off tonight.
Whether you like the fight or not, whether you like the fighter or not, you have to appreciate the athlete because they are working their ass off, both in and outside the cage, just to be able to entertain us on Saturday night. And whether it be people online or just MMA YouTubers in general, I am constantly seeing personal attacks on fighters, people hating on fighters because of their fighting style, people complaining about a fight no matter how good it actually was, people complaining about a UFC card no matter how decent it actually was. I've been seeing a very quick rise in the amount of toxicity in the UFC community. And this is extremely concerning to me because about 1.5 years ago, I wanted to start an MMA channel. I just never got around to it. But at the time, 1.5 years ago, in my opinion, the UFC community and MMA community in general was much more positive than it is now. In fact, I would say about 70% of the content I seen 1.5 years ago was generally positive content. A perfect example of that kind of content would be somebody like Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's always respectful of the fighters, he always has a unique and interesting opinion to give, he may have some clickbait videos, but at the end of the day, his content is overall positive. And like I said, about 1.5 years ago, about 70% of the content I seen here on YouTube was generally positive. It was people talking about fights they enjoyed, it was people breaking down fights, it was people talking about fighters they liked, it was people talking about fights they were excited for, it was people talking about fights they wanted to see. It was content that was unique and interesting, where no 2 videos were the same, where each and every single creator had a different opinion on something. And now, about 50% of the content I see, whether that's here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, is negatively driven. It's people hating on and tearing down fighters after they lose. It's people saying disrespectful stuff just to say it. It's people hating on each and every single fight, no matter how good it is. It's people complaining about no matter what happens in the fight. It's people hating on women's MMA just because they're women. It's people talking about and bringing politics into videos where they're just supposed to be talking about MMA when politics has nothing to do with it. And it's day after day now in the UFC community where you have YouTubers and random people online putting out the most toxic, controversial, negative garbage they possibly can. It's people who have no respect for the sport. It's people who have no respect for the fighters. And it's extremely disappointing to see because, like I said earlier, these fighters are literally putting their lives on the line just to entertain us on Saturday night. And most people treat fighters as if they're not human beings with feelings and emotions. Most people cast judgment on a fighter even though they don't know them personally. All they see is a tweet they don't like. They hear their favorite influencer say that you shouldn't like that fighter, so they go along with it. Most people don't have a unique and individual opinion on the sport or the fighters anymore. And if things continue to trend the way they've been trending for the last year, I'm pretty sure by this time next year, About 70% of the content you see that's made around UFC and MMA is going to be that negatively driven drama content. It's crazy because all these negative MMA YouTubers are the exact same. They talk about the exact same drama, they hate on the exact same things, and they hate on the exact same fighters. And I get why they do that. Controversial content does well. It equals clicks, it equals views, it equals interactions, it equals likes, it equals dislikes, it equals people in your comment section agreeing with you, disagreeing with you. Controversial content equals engagement, and engagement equals more money for you at the end of the month. So I get why people create that type of controversial content, and maybe that's why I'll never be successful here in the UFC MMA space. I noticed that most YouTubers who are positive in the MMA space go unnoticed. None of my opinions are extreme, none of my opinions are crazy, and I can almost guarantee you that this video might get 10, 20, 30 views at max, but that's okay. I'd rather be a small MMA YouTuber with 230 subscribers. I would rather make unique and interesting videos. I would rather make fun videos than talk about drama each and every single day for the rest of my life. I hope that UFC and MMA content here on YouTube and in general gets better. I hope we go to that once positive community where most people had something fun to say, unique and interesting to say, where people weren't such trolls. At the end of the day, what this video boils down to is I simply wish people had more respect for fighters. Plain and simple. To sit there and talk trash on a fighter for losing or for chasing their dream is about as low as you can get, in my opinion. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you did enjoy the video for what it was. I know it was more a rant than anything else at the end, but yeah. Anyways, I love you guys. If you did enjoy the video, like, comment, subscribe, as it really does help the channel grow. And I'll see all of you here next time. Peace out and have a good one.